Greetings, fellow Gorehounds, and welcome back to a Blood Splattered vlog. I'm the Horror Guru.
I'm Count Jackula.
And today we're going to talk about Lowlifes, which is a Tubi original movie directed by Mitch Oliver and Tesh Guttikonda. This movie is a rural horror movie. Affluent city folks visit a rural area and end up running afoul of a dangerous southern family. This is one of those types of movies. But it's a movie that's very aware that you have all seen The Hills Have Eyes, you have all seen Wrong Turn, you have all seen the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So at every turn, this movie is playing with those tropes and making sure that you are seeing something you probably haven't seen before, even if you've seen those movies.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that means that there's a lot of spoilers in this movie that we can't talk about yet because we're in the pre-spoiler section.
Yeah. Like most of the Tubi originals that we bother to actually vlog, this one is unusually good.
Yes, it's on the short list of good Tubi movies.
Yeah.
Not complete and utter throwaway garbage. This movie is legitimately good. It's a kind of movie where if you rented randomly at like a video store back in the day, it would have like gone around as like one of those like cult fan favorites.
Yeah, people would be like, oh man, no, you gotta see this one.
You gotta see this one. You gotta see this one. You got to stick through it because there's something that happens in this movie that is different from the ones you're used to.
Yeah.
I think the acting in this movie is pretty serviceable all around, though I think my favorite is the guy who plays the main dad.
Yeah.
Is having a blast with his role. I won't get into exactly how he is, but he's one of those characters who's simultaneously hamming it up, but he's also completely natural about it to where you believe that that's just the way this guy is.
Yeah. Now, a thing to point out is that this is actually a horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not a horror comedy.
No.
It's not a horror anything. It's just a horror movie.
There's the occasional funny moment.
Yes.
And there's the ghoulish humor that you get when you're dealing with, like, complete monsters that enjoy doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
But it's not a comedy.
Yeah. The comedy here is more like the kind of thing you would find in, like, a Friday the 13th.
Yes, 100%. 100%. The other thing that's interesting about this movie is there's a lesbian relationship in this movie, where one of the people in that relationship is a danger to the other.
Yeah.
And you're not quite sure if the relationship's actually legitimate or if it's just a ploy to get another kill in.
Yeah.
So if you like those kinds of relationships in horror movies, then this is definitely one you should check out. This movie has surprisingly a lot of tension. It's not just a full-on, like, splatter fest.
No. It gets pretty gruesome, but...
Towards the end.
Yeah.
Towards the end.
But towards the end, it gets pretty gruesome.
In the build-up to the end, there's a lot of moments of, like, the classic Hitchcock thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of, like, dynamite at the foot of the bed.
Well, it's like, there's a bomb under the table.
Yeah.
You know it, but you're not sure if the two people sitting at the table know it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of moments like that in the first half of this movie.
Yeah.
And those moments are played perfectly because you, the audience, are privy to something that the characters aren't. So you're very aware of the danger, which means you're also very aware of when the characters are crossing a line that will put them in further danger.
Yeah.
When they have no idea. And those moments are played perfectly. The gruesome finale of this movie is also surprisingly insane. Like, it goes pretty wild. We're not talking about like the substance, right? We're not talking about we're not talking about Dead Alive. But for a rural horror movie of this kind, it doesn't pull any punches at the end.
Yeah, it doesn't pussy out.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. In fact, the ending of this movie is probably going to divide a portion of the audience because the character that survives might not necessarily be the character who deserves to survive.
Yeah, that's one of the things about the movie.
That's kind of what I mean.
Yeah, when you get to the end, you're like, oh, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, a movie it reminded me of in that regard was You're Next.
Yes.
You're Next has a final moment that you're either going to love or hate.
Yeah. Whereas I love the last moment of You're Next.
Me too. It's like the ultimate punchline to that movie. Absolutely. And this movie has its own punchline. It's not nearly as in your face as the Your Next punchline is, but it's there. It's there. The other thing I really like about this movie is that outside of the weird twists and turns it takes, it's a very straightforward presentation.
Yes. Yeah.
It's not super flashy. It's not super like in your face with anything. It's very much like we're just doing this.
Yeah.
It's why I kind of relate it to like a movie you would randomly catch on TV.
Yeah.
Or a movie that you would rent randomly. It's not like the flashiest movie that's going to win all the Oscars or whatever. It's a movie that just did the journeyman thing and did it really well.
Yeah, just got the job done.
It got the job done, and it managed to deliver the couple things it had that makes it unique in such a well-done way that it stands out above the rest, even if overall, when you put it all together, it's very simple.
Yeah. It's not a complicated movie.
It's hard for me to talk about it without revealing the spoilers. My apologies if it sounds like I'm like talking around something. It's because I am.
Yeah, you kind of have to talk around about it because, like, the major twist is actually kind of revealed relatively early on in the movie.
But it's not even in the trailer.
But it's not in the trailer.
The trailer basically sets you up for like the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
And then the movie keeps going.
yeah, and it utterly changes.
Absolutely. And so with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, if anything we've said has intrigued you, it is currently available on Tubi, as it's a Tubi original movie. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, let us move on to the spoiler section so we can finally talk about what this movie does that's rather unique for its type of movie.
The major twist is that the city folk are the killers.
Yes, from the get-go. Well, not necessarily from the get-go. You find out about 20 minutes into the movie.
Yeah.
The city folk are actually cannibals. Yeah. And they're serial killers, and they are planning to kill everyone in this rural family whose house they've decided to stop at.
Yeah.
The rural family aren't even the protagonists, but they are the victims.
Yeah, they're the victims.
On paper, the rural daughter is the protagonist / final girl.
Yeah.
On paper.
But
mind you, this movie ends with her getting shot by the police because the police arrive and think that the rural family was killing the city folk. The cops were already at odds with this family to begin with, partially because one of the men in the family constantly threatens the cops.
Yeah.
So they were very quick to believe that the serial killer daughter, the city daughter, was actually going to be victimized by the rural daughter when the rural daughter had just gained the upper hand. In the final fight, it was about to claim victory over her victimizer.
Yeah. Basically, like, her victory is snatched away. Yep. She's killed.
It reminded me a lot of that scene in You're Next when the cops burst through the door and shoot the final girl.
Yeah.
And then credits. But this movie keeps going because the city daughter ends up killing the cop and taking the camper and going off on her own, which, when you think about it, actually makes her the protagonist.
Yeah.
Because we start off with her.
Yeah.
She's the first character we get to meet. And the thing that we learn about her right away is that whether or not she enjoys what the family does, she wants to be on her own. She doesn't want to be with the family.
Yeah, she doesn't want to be with the family anymore.
She's tired of their shit. So at the end of the movie, she kind of gets what she wants.
Yeah. Now, the thing is, she is not a good guy.
No.
She is evil.
She has tricked this other girl into thinking that she's into her so that she could kill her, and then further tricks her later into thinking that she could help her just so she could further victimize her.
Yeah, but she does have the movie's best line.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, I would rather eat pussy than people.
Yeah, because despite the fact that the city folk are the city folk, the dad is still a complete and utter misogynist.
Yeah.
He constantly controls his wife, and he constantly lets his son get away with things that he doesn't let his daughter get away with. And furthermore, he's also homophobic.
Oh, he's super homophobic.
He's the kind of guy that probably listens to all those, like, men's podcasts.
Yes.
He very much comes across like that. But what's fun about him is that the actor goes, like, full Patrick Bateman with him.
Yes.
Throughout the movie and just has a ball doing it.
Yeah, it's fun watching him do fucked up things.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like when he's gonna feed the tongue of the sister of the final girl's husband to her. And the thing I also really like about this movie is because of the inherent twist in the film, it does a lot of Tucker and Dale-like stuff.
Yeah, it does. But unlike Tucker and Dale, it's not comedy.
No, it's not a comedy. Same kind of like, like these rural stereotypes. So like you think that this character, because he looks like this, is gonna be like this.
Yeah.
Like the big scary dude with the fucking sledgehammer who works at the mill. You think that he's gonna be like Leatherface, right?
Right.
But he's actually kind of a teddy bear.
Yeah. You also think that he's gonna be the one who puts up the biggest fight, but he's the first one that goes down.
Yeah, he's one of the first ones to go down because one of those things that the audience knows, but the characters don't know. The serial killer family has these chocolates. In particular, the son has these chocolates, and he hands out these chocolates to people.
It's heavily implied that it's some sort of like toxic laxative.
Yeah, some sort of like epic laxative.
Yeah.
The big guy in the family gets
I don't know what that would do to the meat, though. You know
I don't
what I mean?
know. I don't know.
Isn't that why you like don't poison game?
It's a good point. It's a good point. It doesn't seem like it's a smart thing to do.
No, it doesn't strike me as a
like if you're
idea.
just killing them.
If you're just killing them, that's one thing.
Perfect. It's a perfect thing to do. Now, the one thing in this movie that I don't think makes a lot of sense, but I understand what they were going for. The mom character. Okay, so the thing they're kind of doing with this is that the mom is basically on some sort of like medication for her mental state, but it's causing her to like question the whole serial killing thing. I don't know if I buy that anyone in this family would take medication to tone themselves down.
No, exactly.
In the first place.
Exactly. Like wouldn't it just be a cover?
Yeah. Like, I'm trying to imagine the scenario where she actually goes into therapy to get the medication, and I just can't see it. I would have liked that dynamic a little better if the dynamic was less about her taking the drugs.
Yeah.
And was more about her being tired of basically being told what to do all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
If the dynamic was she is just as psychotic as he is, but she's tired of being undermined by him at every turn.
Right.
That makes more sense given the dynamic of the family.
Yeah. It did seem really weird that she was like medicating herself, because other than like that happening, I don't think it actually comes up again.
No, not really. Like he tosses it aside at the end and is like, I want you to kill this girl, basically like as a way to like prove to me that you're still part of this family, whatever. Which, to be fair, does lead to like the best scene with the mom in the movie, which is when she dies and the fucking arrow just fucking hits her in the neck right before she fucking is gonna kill that person. But still, I'm not entirely sure if that subplot made sense given the characterization of the family.
Yeah. Is she being forced into this or not?
Yeah.
You know, like that
It was very muddled. And that's just my minor criticism of the movie.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's a very good movie.
Otherwise, it's great. I'm even down with the fucking final girl dying and the fucking serial killer girl getting away and getting what she wants ending.
Yeah.
It's going to be divisive for the audience. I know, because everyone's going to want her to earn that victory that she earned at the end. But that twist that the cops... The cops don't trust the royal family at the end is the best commentary this movie gives.
Yeah.
That the stereotypes surrounding these types of royal families automatically put the city girl as the victim.
Yeah.
And the cop didn't even bother to fucking like check that first.
Yep.
And I thought that was good.
Yeah.
It's very similar to something that happens in Getaway, another movie we saw recently where the twist was the family were the killers. The city folk.
Yeah. In many ways, this is a mirror image of Getaway.
The American rural horror movie equivalent in Britain is the folk horror movie.
Yeah, whereas ours is Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. These two movies kind of are like in conversation with one another.
Yeah.
Because they basically do the same thing. They have a slightly different tone.
Yeah, one's comedic, one's just a pure horror movie.
One's a pure horror movie, but they're both playing with the same tropes of those genres. Right down to the cops believing the killers to be the victims at the ends of both movies.
Yes.
So well done to the team behind Lowlifes. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, where can they find you, Count Jackula?
You can find me here on YouTube, where I stream pretty much every weekday night, starting around 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and going for at least a couple of hours. Sometimes it's 2 hours, sometimes it's 4 or 5, sometimes we get real crazy and I'll pull out World of Warcraft and start fishing, and we'll just keep talking until somebody passes out to One Night in Bangkok, which happened one time.
As you do.
Yeah.
Y'all know me. I'm the Horror Guru. You can find me at Blue Sky. I am on other social media platforms, but primarily I use Blue Sky and YouTube these days, so follow me on those two platforms. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring the notification bell so you're notified of my videos immediately upon their upload. And if you'd like to help out either of us more directly, be sure to check out our Patreon pages. And remember, if you decide to go the Patreon route, even $1 a month can go a long way, but we will certainly accept more. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, I want you to comment below, and be sure to comment below using the hashtag #TongueFillet. Use the hashtag #TongueFillet, that way I know, that way Jack knows, that way the whole world knows that you ate your husband's tongue. I hope it was tasty.
And you're more interested in eating pussy than people.
True.
Yeah.
True.
That would have been the hashtag, but that would probably be a problem.
The problem is that the filters will catch that, and so everyone's posts will just be put behind the fucking filter.
Yeah.
And I'll have to, like, approve each one, and that's just tedious.
That won't work.
I've made that mistake before by putting stuff like that in hashtags. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, peace out, and we'll catch y'all later.